I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, December the 18th, 2015. Two separate vehicular terror attacks were prevented today in the West Bank. Most recently this afternoon, when a Palestinian driver tried to ram his car into Israeli security forces at the entrance to the Jewish settlement of Afra. Soldiers managed to get out of the way of the speeding car, and other troops opened fire at the vehicle, killing the attacker. And just a few hours earlier, a similar incident occurred at the Kalandia checkpoint near Ramallah, where a Palestinian driver tried to run down Israeli police officers and IDF soldiers who were stationed on the vehicle lanes of the checkpoint. He was seen speeding towards the security officers, and another security guard shot at him. He swerved his car to avoid the gunfire, hit a concrete barrier, exited his vehicle, and started to run at the officers when he was shot by one of the security guards, injuring him lightly in the leg. The man was said to be 30 years old, from the village of Tur Messiah in the northern West Bank. He was treated at the scene by Magen David Adom paramedics and then arrested. 8 Palestinian terror suspects were arrested overnight last night throughout the West Bank, 5 of whom were identified as Hamas operatives. A rocket was fired from Gaza towards Israel last night. The IDF said the explosion occurred in an open area, possibly falling short and landing inside Gaza. No damage or injury was reported. While following strong international opposition and outrage, plans in Hungary to erect a statue in honor of a man who played a key role in the deportation of Hungary's Jews during the Holocaust has been voted down. The City Council of Székesfehérvár voted against the proposal to honor Bálint Homan, who served as Minister of Education and Religion in Hungary in the 1930s and 40s, and took part in drafting legislation to restrict the rights of Jews in Hungary and ultimately deport them to the Nazi death camps. As we reported to you, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán expressed his opposition to the statue this week after many Jewish organizations and the U.S. State Department had let their strong opposition be known. The statue was largely funded by the Hungarian government as well as by a private fund, who has now sent a letter to the municipality and the mayor informing them that they would withdraw the project. The Federation of Jewish Communities in Hungary expressed, quote, hope that the issue of this politician with evil memories will be off the agenda once and for all. A bipartisan resolution opposing the recent European Union's labeling decision was introduced in Congress yesterday. It was co-authored by Democratic Representatives Elliot Engel and Nita Lowey and Republicans Peter Roskam and Ed Royce, expressing opposition to the guidelines issued recently by the EU to label Israeli products made over the Green Line. The resolution states that the guidelines, quote, only encourage and prompt consumers to boycott all Israeli goods, and that this is counterproductive to the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, harmful to the U.S. national security interests, and contributes to the deeply misguided anti-Israel boycott, divestment, and sanctions BDS movement. The resolution further notes that, quote, boycotts chip away at economic integration, which negatively affects Israelis and Palestinians alike. After 2 years of efforts, Yom Kippur will now be recognized as an official holiday at the United Nations. The UN Secretariat made the announcement today. Israel's previous ambassador to the UN, Ron Prosor, had begun calling for the recognition 2 years ago, trying to get UN member states to acknowledge the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. New Israeli Ambassador Dani Danon has continued Prosor's efforts, along with the U.S. delegation headed by U.S. Ambassador to the UN Samantha Power. Danon said of today's decision, "This is a correction of a historic wrong directed at the Jewish people and the State of Israel." The UN recognition means that Jewish UN workers can take Yom Kippur as a day off, and that no official discussions or votes will take place during Yom Kippur. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld arrived in Israel today. Seinfeld will give 4 stand-up performances in Tel Aviv's Menorah Mivtachim Arena tomorrow and Sunday nights, 2 shows a night, all of which are sold out. The comedian has visited Israel several times before and was last in the country in 2007 to promote a film, but this is his first time coming to Israel to perform. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight, Friday, December the 18th, at 6 o'clock, live Shabbat services from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed at 7:30 with a Shabbat a cappella concert. At 8 o'clock, former Israeli Ambassador Danny Ayalon speaks with law professor Thane Rosenbaum about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and ways to combat the BDS movement. That's from the Fifth Avenue Synagogue in New York City. At 9 o'clock, the short film The Benny Zinger Show, and at 10, Friends of the IDF honor women soldiers. At 10:30, it's Musica. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 5:30, The Spice Detective. I'm Teisha Bader. I will be off on Monday. I will see you back here on Tuesday. Shabbat Shalom.